Should you play Batman Arkham Knight? Well, the short obvious answer is yes, but that's not why you clicked on a video, is it? Luckily the game was available on Game Pass, so I figured there was no better time than the present to check it out. I downloaded the game and dove in. Whoa, that was fun. Hello there, I am Dr. Ursa, and I unfortunately missed out on this amazing game when it released in 2015. I couldn't really tell you any specific reason. I was being more selective with my gaming purchases at the time, maybe I bought into the negative buzz floating around. Anyway, I missed it. Arkham Knight is the fourth game in the Arkham series, and the third one created by main developer Rocksteady. They are responsible for Arkham Asylum, City, and Knight, with WB Games Montreal developing the prequel, Arkham Origins. My personal experiences with the series comprised watching my roommate play all of Arkham Asylum in 2009, and really enjoying the story even without holding the controller, and then playing through Arkham City myself in 2011. Arkham City was amazing. It was one of those games that I went into with little to no expectations, and just got sucked in for days. I was staying up late and waking up early to play before work. I skipped over Origins, again for no particular reason, and then never really thought about any of it for a while. Recently, I read some online discussion about Arkham Knight, and I heard a few points that really piqued my interest. It has the best Gotham, the combat is smooth and rewarding, the Batmobile parts aren't that bad. So let me tell you about this amazing experience of a game. Mostly spoiler free, and then we will see if those points actually hold up. The entire Arkham series can be summed up with the tagline, "Be the Batman." And there were obviously hours upon hours of dedication poured into this project. The folks behind these games clearly have a good understanding of the character of Batman and strove to translate that into the interactive medium of video games. You are Batman, and play in a third-person perspective with a heavy focus on exploration and combat. The exploration aspects are enhanced by Batman's famous arsenal of gadgets. This includes the iconic Batclaw for grappling up heights and boosting into a long glide around the city. In Arkham City, you could eventually traverse long distances once you had the right upgrades, and Arkham Knight starts you out with most of these already enabled, which means you could travel the entirety of Gotham without ever touching the ground now. The combat is built upon the same timing-based combo and counter system from the previous games, but mixes it up with some new gadget combos and enemy types that require special tactics to make vulnerable. Button mashing might work a bit early on, but it will pay off big time if you learn the mechanics and pay attention. It also really leans into that badass Batman feel when you just completely dismantle a group of 20 thugs without getting hit. Both of these aspects are combined when you find yourself in Predator sections. This is when you have to sneak around an area and use various takedowns to try and clear the enemies without being seen. You can hide up in the rafters, or even sneak around the ventilation system under the floor. Batman is a master ninja, and it's fun to watch the goons panic as they realize they are being picked off. We see the return of special enemies in Predator mode as well, including some new variants like drones or stealth suits. A new overall mechanic in Arkham Knight are the fear takedowns. These require you to have a charge built up, usually by performing a silent takedown without being noticed, and will let Batman aggressively chain enemy takedowns together, really tapping into the feel of more recent Batman movies. All of this is supported by a point-based upgrade system that you will be rewarded with via leveling up or completing missions. These allow you to upgrade your movement and combat abilities to almost ridiculous levels. You do have some choice depending on your playstyle. I leaned hard into the combo-based combat tree early on because I like confronting large groups head-on. But you could also focus on gadget skills such as using them while gliding to open up a fight differently. Arkham Knight continues the series' tradition of expanding the available play space, this time offering up the 3 islands that make up Central Gotham. This is the largest map we have ever had in these games, and despite being empty of everyone but enemies for plot reasons, it presents an interesting combination of realism and some artistic license for the sake of the source material. City designers in Gotham have always had some unique ideas. Using the previously mentioned exploration abilities, you can fly through all of Gotham, but Rocksteady also took this chance to give us access to one of Batman's most famous toys. So let's go ahead and address the bat-themed elephant in the room, the Batmobile. In order to facilitate travel around this new expanse of Gotham, Arkham Knight gives us direct control of a new version of the Batmobile that is basically a tank with fast travel mode. Before we even get too deep into it, I think this version of the Batmobile is just super cool overall. It can be used almost anywhere, and there will be points in the game where you have to maneuver it onto rooftops or through tunnels. This is usually accomplished by swapping the Batmobile into battle mode, the the wheels turn sideways and a weapon turret pops out the top. Most often, this will be used to battle remotely controlled drones, but there were more puzzles based around this movement than I expected. Your mileage may vary, as some people complain that the Batmobile-based puzzles are repetitive, but I was just happy to see the Batmobile attempt to incorporate all aspects of the Arkham series. There are even segments that are essentially Predator mode for the Bat-Tank, forcing you to stay out of sight and sneakily strike your foes from behind. That said, the game will offer you an upgrade that can hack enemy vehicles, and I found it really removed some of the challenge from these parts. The Batmobile is required for progress in certain parts of the game, so don't neglect its upgrades in the skill tree either.
I gotta get me one of those.
Arkham Knight starts 9 months after the events of Arkham City, and while things seem peaceful enough, Batman and others are just waiting for the next big move by the villains of Gotham. Scarecrow ends up being the new frontrunner in town with the death of the Joker in the previous game, and kicks things off with a fear gas-based terror attack on a packed diner. You get to see this in first person in a really great opening sequence. There will be some slight changes in NPC dialogue depending on if you actually shoot anyone while controlling the cop, which is a nice attention to detail. Scarecrow warns the entire city of an even larger attack, which leads to a massive evacuation, ensuring that the only people left on the streets are criminals or the few good guys left. Batman wastes no time in coordinating with one of his oldest allies, Commissioner Gordon, and they set out to clean up Gotham. With Scarecrow heading up the main plot, we soon find out that he is supported by a new mystery character that is pretty much military Batman and knows way more than he should about the Dark Knight.
Oh, and avoid the bat symbol. It's a little trick. It's where his armor's the strongest. Aim for the weak spots at the shoulders first, then coordinate fire at the points where the plates meet.
The Arkham Knight. This guy comes into town and brings an entire army with him. This is the source of all the drones and most of the reasons that you will need the Batmobile. The secondary baddies in this story are pulled from Batman's amazing rogues gallery, and see some classics such as Penguin and Two-Face. Now, I personally think that the Arkham series has kind of already tapped this tank dry with the previous game, and this entry does reflect that. We do see other foes from Batman lore, but some of these are a bit deeper cut than what casual Batman fans might recognize. I enjoyed them all, but names like Professor Pig and Firefly don't come up as often as some of Batman's more famous rogues. Arkham Knight tracks your progress through the game by separating the main story and side quest, collectively called Gotham's Most Wanted, and allows you to track them through this circular menu. Most of the side quests will eventually require you to progress the main story further, but will indicate when new intel is available to point you back in that direction. I really like this style, which encourages exploration and growth at your own pace while keeping the story moving along. Remember that this all takes place in one night. In a great addition to the series, Arkham Knight will see you teaming up with various members of the Bat family to accomplish Batman's goals. The fun part comes in that you will get to control these side characters during the team-up moments, and even do tag team takedowns that can instantly take out even large brute-level enemies. Robin, Nightwing, Catwoman, and even Azrael are all playable at different points in the game. Batman also has his usual support network of Alfred, Lucius Fox, and the all-important Oracle. Just in case you were unfamiliar, Oracle is the now paraplegic Barbara Gordon who runs support for the Bat family utilizing the powerful Bat computer and her own formidable detective skills. Barbara used to be Batgirl before she was attacked and paralyzed by the Joker prior to the main Arkham games. The final main character to mention in this game is possibly everyone's favorite. Despite his demise in the previous game, the Joker makes a triumphant return as a haunting figment of Batman's mind. The game makes it pretty clear that this Joker is not physically real and serves as a visual representation of Batman's guilt over his death. Mark Hamill returns to give yet another unforgettable performance as the Clown Prince of Crime. By having him exist as some sort of cursed fragment of Batman's psyche, we get to see the Joker at his most impish and unrestricted. Dude does not pull punches with his jokes on this one, but really made me laugh more than once.
Drove you round the bend and I'm laughing. I'm with you till the end and I can't stop laughing. I killed all your friends and I can't stop laughing.
He even calls us out as the player at least once. There's a really great jump scare that I won't ruin, but Joker shows up later to mimic it and laugh at us directly. If he wasn't in this game, then I would definitely give folks a bit more credit toward the weak Rogues Gallery argument. There will be many random moments where you can find a phantom Joker standing by and observing your actions, usually ready with a quip if you pay him attention. I don't want to give too many direct spoilers for this game, considering I am arguing that you should go play it yourself, but I will acknowledge that the big twist of the game is super obvious if you know your Batman. Honestly, the game gives some pretty heavy-handed hints the further you go, even if you're not steeped in Bat history. My one hint would be to think about it as a narrative, and that it is rare to introduce a truly new character this late into a franchise. Whether you figured it out early, or were surprised by the reveal, the character does get a bit annoying in his vindictive hate for Batman. Like, dude, we get it. Batman bad. Either way, I don't think he was bad enough to write this game off. Scarecrow has a menacing new appearance, and falls back on the classic idea of destroying the idea of Batman more than causing him direct harm. This game has some pretty dark moments to back this up. Scarecrow puts Batman through quite a lot this night, but Batman has always had a sort of self-strengthening reaction to trauma. Arkham Knight definitely expects that you've played at least the first 2 games in the story, and will reference these events several times. A cool Easter egg is that you can actually see both Arkham City and the Asylum off in the distance if you take the time to look. I will point out that Arkham Knight has had multiple DLC additions to the game since release, and took a seasonal content type approach to releasing the various add-ons and cosmetics. I haven't picked them up yet myself, but it is my understanding that they even added more classic villains to the story mode, such as Mr. Freeze or the Mad Hatter. It would have been nice to see more of them built into the base game, but it is what it is with DLC at this point. There are also the famous AR challenges available from the main menu. If you really enjoy this series and just want more of it at a mechanical level with no story, then this is the perfect thing for you. Think VR missions from Metal Gear Solid. The Arkham series has become well known for including these simulations that represent the puzzles that make up combat, Predator, and now Batmobile-based situations. A standout for Arkham Knight is that each challenge is available for all of the various playable characters. As Gerard the Completionist pointed out, these things can make 100%ing this game a bit of a nightmare, but if you just casually dip a toe every so often, it can be pretty fun. Arkham Knight does lock a true ending behind 100% main game completion, which sadly includes all 200 plus Riddler puzzles in the game. I just finished everything minus the riddles like a week ago and have been chipping away at them in my free time after work, but once again, you really do get everything else you could want from this game, even without full completion. Honestly, I wouldn't judge you if you just looked it up on YouTube. After this video, of course. I mean, you've already made it this far. Thanks for that, by the way. So let's review those points from earlier again. It has the best Gotham. Okay, so this one is kind of a no-brainer out of the 3. This is our first time actually in full Gotham. Arkham Origins showed us what old Gotham looked like before its conversion to Arkham City, but this is downtown Gotham at its finest. With or without the Batmobile, this is the best Batman playground Rocksteady has made. There's a lot of visual storytelling done by the city alone. One of my favorites is that LexCorp is building a new tower right next to Wayne Enterprises. Bonus points if you find Lex's voicemail to Bruce offering to buy the Applied Sciences division. The combat is smooth and rewarding. So this could probably be said about the entire series, to be honest. Arkham Knight takes all of the additions to combat, like utilizing weapons or building up the combo meter to do gadget-based specials, and dials it up to 11. There are 2 gadgets in the game that can be picked up as early as you can access the rooms they are in, the remote electric charge and the freeze grenade, and they both grant you quite a bit of AoE and stun options to control the flow of battle. Arkham combat flows based on time button presses, either attacking or countering. I hear on Nightmare difficulty the game removes the counter indicators, so I salute all the people good enough to complete that particular challenge. The upgrade system only ensures that you become more dangerous as the game progresses, and some of the late game gauntlets of enemies reflect how much damage Batman can really do. And the Batmobile parts aren't that bad. And here's the make or break for most people. I do get it. There were some points where I was pursuing the militia-based side missions and needed to fight a large number of drone tanks at once. It got pretty hard and I died a few times before deciding to come back with some Batmobile upgrades later. The times you are required to use it can be a bit tedious, but I fully understand developer Rocksteady wanting to show off their incredible creation that was the Arkham Knight Batmobile. This thing is an absolute beast, and will power through stone walls and pillars like they are nothing. When the Batmobile works, it really works. I would argue that the game would have been too much like its predecessors without the Batmobile, and it was really either that or make Batman actually superhuman. I bet you're shocked that I agree with these points, huh? I mean, why else make a video about it? Look, if you enjoyed any of the Arkham series so far, then you could probably find yourself at least having fun with this game. Arkham Knight was a heartfelt send-off to one of the greatest superhero series out there. We all know that most of the games in this genre have not been particularly good, so one last tip of the hat towards Rocksteady for what they made. Look, there is so much to point out with this game. I didn't even mention the unique death scenes that will play out depending on where you fell, or the new voice synthesizer gadget that allows you to direct enemies around. There's a lot, and even though this game is not new, I really do think you should go check it out for yourself. If you already played through this game, please let me know your thoughts and maybe share some of your experiences in the comments to help me convince the naysayers out there. If this video helped convince you to play the game even a little bit, please let me know that as well. Consider subscribing to the channel if you made it this far. I'm still bouncing around a few different games or shows to cover next, but I am open to suggestions, and either way another video will be coming soon. Like the video if you liked it, and thanks again for watching. Until next time, take care.
Hey, Batman. Every damn time.